Yeah, hello, good evening, third time lucky. Welcome once again to Talking Pictures, your weekly Wednesday waffle, joined with me, myself and I, and my good friend David. David, we're here today to talk about a very specifically chosen topic. Has this genre ever been present in your house growing up? What did you think of this genre?
It was one that always was that's for when I'm older. It wasn't really on all the time. It was very much like, I'm not old enough to watch this yet.
Right, so no zombie movies.
No, zombie movies were not a staple of my childhood, unfortunately.
Well, David, that's what we're here to talk about today. Folks, myself and I, and David over on the couch, has decided to choose some of our favourite zombie movies. Movies specifically. We're not talking about The Walking Dead, regardless of how good or bad it was.
I'll mention it. I have points to mention about it.
Down the line. But for now, me and David had a bit of homework to do to watch through some of our, well-liked zombie movies. I just made a list on Letterboxd, and yeah, it's an interesting genre. It is within itself a genre of its own, the zombie genre, and I think people can be fed up of it sometimes, but I'll never be fed up of it so long as it's good. So, yeah, I have a thing for zombie movies. I always have. I think I'm looking forward to a hopeful diverse look in selection between what me and you and what we've got for today's stock.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that zombie movies definitely fall into a lot of different tropes. There's a lot of tropes that come along with zombie movies, and I think that the three that I've chosen anyway they both embrace and also dissect those tropes.
Yeah.
They can follow them along, but also make fun of them as well. So I think I've got a solid three. I don't know about you if yours do that, but we'll get into that as we go.
Yeah, well, my movies embrace the tropes of the genre while playing with it.
Mm-hmm.
Putting some homage to the originator, which came from George A. Romero. He's classed as the director of zombie movies because he started it, I believe.
He started it. We'll get into that into the flashback section. I actually have a flashback for that, but he kind of originated the zombie as we know it, the brain eating.
Yeah,
you die, you come back.
Well, since you have a flashback section for today's episode, I'll just throw in a quick trailer of the week.
Yeah, sure, if you want. Yeah, fly away.
Did you see the trailer? In lieu of the theme of this episode, we have the return of Rick Grimes.
Oh, yes.
The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, a 6-episode season premiering in February. We have Rick Grimes returning with the return of Michonne on the search to find him.
Mm-hmm. I saw this trailer, and since the end of The Walking Dead, it's the only thing that I've been interested in. I know that we've obviously had the Daryl Dixon spin-off and then Dead City with Maggie and Negan.
We've had a young adult or teenager one in that of World Beyond, which people kept on talking shit because it was woke and LGBT, but okay. And Fear the Walking Dead, which I'll acknowledge was good, then bad, then good, then awful.
Okay.
But that's concluded, just like the main show.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the Maggie and Negan show, I watched the Daryl Dixon show, and then I saw this trailer.
This
took the motherfucking biscuit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I honestly felt like, okay, yeah, sure, it feels natural just to, Rick and Michonne, because that's where those characters concluded.
Mm-hmm.
But no, this is Rick and Michonne.
Mm-hmm.
They put the money out there. You can see it. Helicopters, explosions, great cinematography. You saw the trailer. The cinematography does look different when it's got Rick Grimes, Andrew Lincoln in frame.
Yeah.
You remember when they were going to do like a trilogy of movies?
I remember that being one of the reasons why he left. I think that they kind of nearly announced that he was leaving, and then before he had left, oh, guess what? We're also doing these movies. He kind of knew he wasn't going to die.
Well, yes. Well, actually, I always thought that was announced after.
I feel as though, from my memory, it felt the same time.
Right.
But yeah, no, it looks great. It very much feels like a different section of the world. Like, one indicator to me, the fact that everyone refers to Rick as Grimes
as opposed to Rick.
Yeah, that he goes by his last name. Like, okay, this is uncharted territory for Rick.
It's in a situation where he is not a leader. He is a prisoner. He's
a cog in the machine. He's there as an officer, like a part of the army. You know,
yeah,
he's just another person there.
And it's not just that. Him and Michonne returning. Fuck's her name? Jadis? The garbage woman.
Judas, yeah.
Judas. It was actually Jadis, but then her name was Anne. But her name was Jadis because Judas.
Okay.
Because she was a traitor. But then she joined. Then she was going to kill someone, but then she didn't. And then she left. And then she was going to kill someone, but then she saw Rick and she saved him. She actually made an appearance in the second season of World Beyond.
Okay.
I've seen her since Rick. She mentioned Rick.
Okay.
Not by name.
But, yeah.
We knew, oh, Easter egg. Do you know what that means?
Yeah.
Explained. She's obviously been teased up as a villain because that's the sort of route she was going to. So it's interesting that we have 3 familiar faces. Rick, Michonne, and the one who played Jadis. And go for it. Let's go. And
I hope of the whole series, the thing I hope for is that even though it's 6 episodes, I hope Rick and Michonne don't come back together in episode 6. I would want them to be back by episode 4 so that we get a full episode 5 and episode 6 of them together.
I'd argue it should be at the earliest at the end of episode 3. Not the start of episode 4, the end
of episodes. So you would want 4, 5, and 6. I would want it in the same way that Ahsoka had them finding Ezra in episode 6.
Yes, however, those are 2 episodes extra. So only because it's 6 episodes, I just want that. And
you just want your main characters to be together.
Put together. And since it's a small stacked cast, it's a small scale cast. So yeah, The Walking Dead is still going strong in its spin-offs. Maggie and Negan and the Daryl one, they're getting seasons 2. Carol's gonna join fucking Daryl in somewhat of a...
I can't wait till all of these shows spin off and then they all come together in a culmination and they just call it The Walking Dead.
I honestly do not, for the fucking life of me, know what their plan is. But like, just keep it going. Just see what happens, you know? Like, well, we're gonna get an Aaron and Gabriel spin-off and we don't know fuck, but we'll see what we can get.
You know, speaking of The Walking Dead, as I mentioned it there, we're going to talk about zombie movies today.
Have you got anything to add about the zombie genre before I ask you your top 3 picks?
It's not one, honestly, that I have delved into a whole lot.
Right.
I think there's a lot of, probably the thing that I've seen the most of, and it's just by consequence of there being a lot of it, is The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
In a way, you can make the argument that The Last of Us is kind of like a zombie movie.
No.
You wouldn't.
I would, but no. No, The Last of Us...
It's an infection.
It's no. It's not even. It's The Last of Us.
Yeah.
It's Joel and Ellie.
Yeah.
I will never, ever compare The Last of Us to something like The Walking Dead or any zombie project coming out of Korea. No.
Yeah,
The Last of Us is... It's almost like... With all the sword and sandal and horse type of movies, what do you call them? Fantasy? So if you had Gladiator, and The Last Kingdom, or Vikings, or Exodus, or... You see what I'm getting? I would throw the Lord of the Rings movies in there. Much more quicker than I would throw The Last of Us in a group of the zombie genre.
That's fair enough. Yes.
So, that's how high I hold The Last of Us. I don't, because you get entire episodes that there are no infected.
No, you nearly said zombies.
That's because we're talking about the zombie genre.
Okay,
David, will we knock ourselves into it?
Yeah.
I think we've done enough waffling now.
Absolutely.
Let's get on, David. The zombie genre really is about you follow 1 or 2 main characters. They join a group. They hunker down in some form of a shelter and they wait it out and they get along or bicker and banter, and one by one throughout the journey of the movie, as they try to survive or make a plan for an escape, the characters start to die, not always by bites of zombies, but also from amongst each other.
Yeah.
Or sacrificial deaths as well. And then you'll get to see who may or may not survive at the end of the flick. Have I just described pretty much every zombie movie?
I think you pretty much did. Yeah, you left out the main kind of message I think that most zombie movies have, which is that humans were the real monsters all along. Do you know, it always seems that even though zombies are a threat to our survivors, the real threat is other people.
The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
The Walking Dead did it many a times.
Many times.
And I was never sick of it. I was never sick of The Walking Dead. Always, this new group is just a foe, and you have to fight, and you have to kill them. What you want? More zombies?
Mm-hmm. It can, if it's not compelling, it can get old very quickly because it's the same. Once you've dealt with one zombie, you kind of nearly dealt with all zombies.
For sure, the foes are always different.
Mm-hmm.
The zombies are always the same. David, we'll just get into it. Yeah, David, what would you like to tell us as one of your picks?
So we've 3 picks each. So my first pick would be 28 Days Later.
Nice.
I think the 28 Days Later, in a way, it kind of inspired The Walking Dead.
You reckon?
I think so, because I think that the opening with Cillian Murphy waking up in the hospital, very, very reminiscent of Rick Grimes waking up in the hospital.
Yeah.
I think that kind of nearly inspired it a little bit. The argument can be made that this one is also not a zombie movie because it's a rage virus. Do you know?
Yes, I suppose that makes it easier for a talent like Cillian Murphy to return to the franchise should he decide to. Not quickly just classify it as a zombie, but a rage virus. Yes, differentiate up. Maybe give it to the excuse as to why 28 Days Later is one of the first, if not the first, movie of the zombie genre to have fast zombies.
That's another thing. Yeah, fast zombies is with a lot of other zombie movies, it's the sheer number of zombies.
Yeah.
That's what becomes so overwhelming, is that there's so many of them, and there's, even though they're slow and they amble along like you're not, there's just so many, you can't possibly take on this many. But with 28 Days Later, it is ferociously fast zombies that are coming at you, and they're vicious. Like, it's not even a simple, like, if you're bitten you're dead. It's you're bitten, or if there any saliva or any blood or anything like that, and they're vomiting, and they're like, it's like the entire infected in 28 Days Later just exists to infect more. It's like they are taken hold of, and the virus just wants to spread more and more. It doesn't really care about killing them or anything like that, because most of the rage monsters, the zombies there, like, come at you, bite you, and run away. Whereas zombie movies typically you're being eaten.
Yeah, so I suppose we're being naive and just classifying something like that, 28 Days Later, as it's a zombie movie. Yeah. So I suppose it's not fair for me to call The Last of Us not that, but then me easily accepting 28 Days Later to it. But
it's your own opinion.
I think for me, I grew up with it.
Yeah.
And I grew up with knowing, thinking, believing it's a zombie movie. And it's one of the best ones. And if you hadn't picked it, I would have.
Yeah.
And it's got Naomi Harris in it.
Yeah, it's got Brendan Gleeson in it.
It's got... What's the man's name?
Christopher Eccleston.
He played Doctor Who.
Yeah, he plays the army general. Yeah.
And I remember watching this as a kid. You have your group, you sort of get to come together type of family. You lose one of the guy at the start. Celine has to kill because he got bit. Yeah,
and it's not even like it's a zombie movie where you can, if you get bit, chop off the arm, chop off your leg, and you stop the infection. It's, if you are in any way compromised, you're dead. Like, you're gone.
I remember thinking as a child, maybe I had a splinter in my thumb, and I think my mom said, you're going to get infected. Oh, what?
You thought, I'm a zombie, that's me done. Infection means something else for you.
In fact, when I heard the word infection, oh shit, what's going to happen? But I just shows to show how the schools taught me. Yeah. Anywho, there is a big group coming together, because after when the protector of the group, Brendan Gleeson, is out of the picture. What great coincident timing for the soldiers. Yeah. Revealed to be who they are. Did they plant the bodies there for that to happen? Did they know it was going to happen and let it happen? Did they know we can't let this person into our into our environment because he'll be a problem that we just don't want to have.
I never thought about it like that. I wouldn't have thought that they would do that, but you're right. It anytime I've seen it, I've only seen it twice now, but like it is that always kind of way of he becomes infected and then like literally 10 seconds later they show up and it's like, oh, if only he hadn't have kicked that door or whatever and the blood came out, like he would have survived. But you're right, they were probably watching and waiting. Like, do you think as soon as he was out of the picture, it's like, okay, now we've only got one other guy to contend with here.
Yeah.
Now's the time to bring them in. Now we can intervene.
Because they want the people. They want the women.
Yeah.
That's what they want. That's why they were willing to... Now. The general would have given the command. And it's like that situation of what if Joel wasn't there to protect Ellie? If Ellie wasn't capable of handling herself.
It's the whole thing of humans being... Like, as soon as the rules are... There's no rules anymore.
Yeah.
Human beings go down to their most awful, degenerate state.
These soldiers, these men who are sworn to protect civilians, bunch of fucking pervert rapists.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one of them was actually against it, and he got shot for it.
Yeah.
And then after that, Cillian Murphy just goes feral. A young feral Cillian Murphy, releasing zombies from their chains, going after the soldiers one by one, like a vigilante, lone avenger, and that's when you get that musical sequence. That I'm not gonna hum it because I'm not gonna do any justice, but you know the score.
The proper score for it. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a good one.
Another I quite like. I'm a real big fan of Danny Boyle's movies.
Yeah,
I really like how. The opening sequence with Cillian Murphy walking around London and it completely empty, and you get a real sense of scale of London is empty. What is going on here? Do you know, if you weren't familiar with the zombie genre at all, or knowing that this is that type of movie, I suppose the opening sequence with the monkeys, where the virus comes from, kind of explains it. But if you just watch that sequence, you're like, what is going on? This is crazy. Can you imagine what he was like that character in that space, like to wake up and no one in the hospital and London completely empty? Like, it would feel like you're either in a zombie apocalypse or the rapture has happened and everyone has been taken away by aliens or been ascended to heaven.
It didn't stop him from taking money.
No, because that, you know, if I didn't know that money was no longer a concept and there was just money sitting on the street, I'd go for it as well. Absolutely. I really like how
You've a good excuse to eat chocolate and sweets. And
take whatever you want.
When they threw the fucking Maltesers towards you, like, I'm fixing me Maltesers now. I'm fixing me Maltesers.
The actual film looks dirty as well. Do you know? Like, it has that grimy look to it, like as if...
I didn't feel clean in his home house.
Absolutely. And then... I really just enjoyed the moments of levity as well.
Shopping.
In the shopping, specifically.
Eating and picnicking.
In any other film, they're doing that shopping and there's zombies in there and they have to run out. But the fact that they're able to go in, pick out what they want, just have a good time amongst all this, it's just a nice little moment of levity, a nice human moment of them just shopping, and they get to walk out with all their stuff. Now, do they get to eat all their stuff? Absolutely not. But when you get that choice of whatever you want here, don't worry about it. And then when they're leaving and Brendan Gleeson puts his card on the thing, like it's just, I really do enjoy those moments of levity without the sudden struggle of, oh no, we need to get out of here. What was the point in coming here at all? Because we didn't get what we needed, you know?
Oh, you gotta appreciate Brendan Gleeson's presence in the movie.
Absolutely.
Like, you really do. Like Brendan Gleeson's old in the movie. Cillian Murphy's young. Cillian Murphy's middle-aged man. Brendan Gleeson's still old. You made me appreciate 28 Days Later a whole lot more. So I'm gonna give it a watch. Jesus, David. What else have you got for us?
Sorry, we'll go a bit quicker. So my next one then would be Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah?
Shaun of the Dead by Edgar Wright.
I almost wish you would have said that for last.
Oh, sorry. I can pick another one. I can do the other one instead. Shaun of the Dead is one that it's so stylized by Edgar Wright.
But it would be one of his first. To make his imprint in movies. You wouldn't have known what Edgar Wright was like before Shaun of the Dead.
No, not unless you had seen his TV show Spaced. he worked on that with Simon Pegg as well.
Right.
But yeah, it very much feels like the kind of Night of the Living Dead, where it's slowly the infection isn't there all of a sudden, or sorry, the infection isn't there from the start. Like, you do get that kind of the sense of the world, and then it's slowly.
For me, it was always one of those zombie movies that I'm a kid, so I wouldn't have a watch to wear, but I just remember thinking, how long is this movie going to take until we get to the zombies? Because it does do taking its time setting up.
Establishing the characters for you to care about them.
Yes, but I was a child, I didn't give a fuck.
You wanted to see the zombies,
I wanted to see the zombies. And I remember being shown this movie as well, and I didn't realise it was actually a riff on the zombie genre, because it's literally Sean and his mate and his girlfriend hunkering down in the Winchester, the pub. It's literally almost every other zombie movie I've described. You know, he tries to get his parents. He has to bring along these people he doesn't really particularly like.
I don't like him either. Yeah, it's that his stepdad, played by Bill Nighy, is bitten, but they don't want to. He hasn't turned yet, so
that's a thing that is always introduced, that when someone is bitten but they don't know, but our protagonist who we follow, they know, and you think, oh, I can't have to do the thing. I'm so sorry, Philip. What?
Yeah, he's not turned.
He's not
that later on his mom gets bit, but she hides it from the group.
Yeah, like it's another thing as well.
All of these tropes,
but then it's just riddled with all this humor and comedy, not just from Simon Pegg, but Nick Frost as well. Like, just think about that one scene where they're coming out of their parents' house. Like, Nick Frost is sitting there. Hello, Braba. He's a thing for his mother, but not really. He's just sweet about it. Smoking a cigarette. Where's the car? Yeah, as if he can't see it behind him, but the audience cannot see it because it's perfect.
It's out of frame.
It's out of frame. But he just turns it. Yeah, we caned it. What the fuck happened? Like, obviously, me, the audience, know he crashed a car so he can drive the stepfather's car. And you know, I guess we'll have to take the, what was the name?
I think it was a Porsche, was it?
Porsche, or the Jack, or the flat.
Take the Jag, yeah, you take the Jag.
We'll have to take the Jag. And so we're on the shot of Simon Pegg. Philip followed the camera to reveal the blocking. There's a fucking zombie, a meter, no, not me, 2 feet away, walking towards her, bites him on the fucking neck.
Yeah, we need to go. Move it, speed it along.
Here we go. Sean fires over the fucking car, takes on the 2 zombies with the fucking cricket bat. His signature weapon, literally his signature weapon. And go. Fuck, I want to watch the movie.
Yeah,
I haven't watched it in preparation. I want to watch it now. Just
it has a lot of those great sequences, like that one you're saying, when they have to pretend to be zombies. So Diane gives the class, she's an actor, so see the facial expressions, and she describes how to be a zombie. And then the great sequence in the Winchester when they fight the zombies to Queen's what song is it? Don't Stop Me Now. Great scene. I love seeing set to musical, like hitting on the beat and stuff like that. But then as it goes on later, it does become then just a regular zombie movie. Like it makes fun of and does all of the tropes. But then when it gets serious, when all the zombies do attack the pub, it's very serious and it's very real. And because you've spent the whole time with the cast of characters and you do like them,
you've gotten to understand them.
Yeah, that then it becomes very serious and the danger is very, very real. And then it ends on that perfect note of him keeping Nick Frost's character in the shed.
Yeah.
And even though they're zombies, they're still in there. Do you know?
Well, what are they? Or
yeah, because they have that whole thing of when Phil is in the car, his stepdad, he's a zombie, and he says to his mom, like, the man that you knew in there is not the man that you knew. And then he reaches forward and he just goes to turn off the radio because he was saying to them to turn off the radio. And then Nick Frost's playing the PlayStation, in the shed.
Yeah.
Like that they're still in there somewhere, but they're zombies now. Do you know?
Even to continue the repeated trope of they boarded up their shelter that they're hiding in, and they've got one the rifle or a shotgun.
The shotgun,
shotgun, and they just load them up, and then here's the time to shoot all the fucking bastards. he misses almost every shot. He literally gets one headshot out of an entire intense goosebump laughing out loud sequence. Like it's he aims the gun, shoots it, misses it.
I think it bounces off something that finally gets someone.
And then he shoots it again, like, and then they keep on, over there, and then the camera's on the barrel of the gun to move. This is an Edgar Wright movie,
absolutely,
not a zombie movie. And yeah, definitely appreciate for it. Definitely appreciate Bill Nighy is also in this movie as well. Like,
it's got a great cast of like classic, I suppose, British comedians, or not comedians, but actors.
Yeah.
With Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, Dylan Moran, the Irish actor's in there. He plays the guy that fancies David, yeah.
Do you remember that death scene where busts through the window and
on his stomach is completely opened up?
But you hear the noise of the zombie. That's a good choice.
Yeah,
it's an interesting pick. Yeah, it was Shaun of the Dead. It was a childhood movie, but then it's all fucking serious with the mother dying and everyone else dying. Yeah, I think it's a bit funny. One runs out to the horde of zombies, never to see her again. But then, Shaun is fucking shoot anything he can and miss, and Liz is blocking everything with the stool, and then Ed's lighting. He's getting cocktails ready to fucking get
Molotov cocktails. Yeah,
he's getting everything going, and then he gets fucking taken. He gets Ben. That's like not going back. There's no going back when
once you're bit, that's you gone. Yeah.
So like when the way he had that, he shot that like on a wide shot. There's no insert shots or anything like that, and yeah, fuck.
Yeah, it's a great one.
It's a fucking classic.
It's one that is taking the piss out of the genre, but also abides by the rules of the genre, and creates then a story that you are invested in. Yeah, you know, it's not just taking the piss completely.
He did the same with Hot Fuzz for the action genre.
Absolutely. So it was a great, honestly, it's a great trilogy. All three of them. I think a lot of people definitely like Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz a lot more than The World's End.
I like The World's End.
Yeah,
I like the fact that it's not just them two. It's a group of them. But we're just talking Shaun of the Dead, and if you hadn't picked it, David, like 28 Days Later, you would have picked it too.
And then my final pick would be in a similar vein to Shaun of the Dead, in the kind of more so critiquing the genre, would be Zombieland.
Yeah,
Zombieland. Yeah, I think that it feels like it knows it's a movie because it has that whole aspect of it where Jesse Eisenberg like lists off the rules that he follows.
Yeah, he's got his only rules. He's got to stay in shape. He's got to keep an exercise. He's got to double tap. The rules are literally the reason why he is still alive.
Yeah, and it's very stylistic in that where, you know, anytime that he's following the rule, that rule comes up like, oh yeah, look, he's following a rule. Like you're reminded as an audience, this is the reason why he's still alive.
Yeah.
Because he is not the typical action hero like Woody Harrelson who can come in and just like, you know, fend off 3 zombies all at once.
Yeah.
The way that Jesse Eisenberg's character does it is he'll run rings around him. And then, you know, once he finally gets far enough away, he'll load up his shotgun and then shoot you.
Pretty much acknowledging the things the audience watching the movie are telling the characters to.
Yes, yes, very much so.
Yeah, so it's good for that sense. I never overly liked Zombieland. It was I think I've watched it maybe twice, and it's good. I like Woody Harrelson the best, and it's just interesting. Like I like it for what it was and what it is, but I don't really have a whole lot to say. Like unlike the other two, I would not have chosen it myself. But hey, got a sequel. It's got its
fan base definitely, and it got the sequel. But I think the sequel was not as good as the first one because of the time between. I think it was too long to wait for a sequel to it.
Yeah, some movies, I think I would actually disagree only because would you be seeing that if it was better? If it was better?
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, like if it was better, then it wouldn't have mattered the time between. But I think for the movie that it was,
yes,
there was too much time between it.
Well, we've had a few legacy sequels. So, shit, do I have that in my leg? I don't know. Anyway,
And it has a young Emma Stone
and a young
Abigail Breslin. Which are both great, and it came out around the time of the video game Left 4 Dead, which is a zombie video game.
Oh, really?
And kind of it seemed like it borrowed a lot of stuff from that as well.
Right.
Specifically, the fact that it ends kind of in the carnival.
Yeah,
that's a major kind of set piece in the game.
Right.
And the special type of zombies as well, like the fact that Jesse Eisenberg is not afraid of zombies, but he's afraid of clowns. So there's a clown zombie. Do you know that? Scares the shit out of him. But no, that's a good. I think it's very stylized. It's a very American comedy.
Yeah.
That aspect of it, whereas Shaun of the Dead is very British humor.
Yeah.
So there are two zombie movies that are both more so comedies than zombie movies.
Yeah.
Because I think that the reason why I chose those is because I think with a lot of zombie movies, they can very much fall into those tropes, and it feels like you're just watching the same zombie movie again and again.
I actually agree, and I like your reason for choosing those. It's quite interesting because what have you done? What are you doing differently?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can get into it later when I'm getting into my picks, but to spoil you, I tend to like my zombie movies to follow the more traditional route.
Mm-hmm.
But Shaun of the Dead will qualify for that because of the...
Yeah, it's still...
People get together, hunker down, die, survivors survive.
Yeah.
Similar situation with 28 Days Later.
Mm-hmm.
And a similar reason for 2 of my 3 picks.
Yeah. See, in Zombieland, none of our main characters die. We've got the 4 main characters. The only one that dies is Bill Murray,
and
who turns up.
He's just a glorified extended cameo.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I would not have wanted nor liked to have the characters in Zombieland die because of who the characters are.
Yeah.
Because of what they are. Because of how limited it is. I wouldn't have wanted any of them to die. You see.
Yeah.
It's just not that type of movie. It doesn't lend itself to that type of movie. You know, and because it didn't start, it didn't embrace. Because some characters in Shaun of the Dead do die.
Mm-hmm. A lot of them. We only get left with 2.
And maybe someone, the soldier, his friend, but she was just in 2 or 3 scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it was interesting. Interesting picks, Dave. I like your picks.
And before we go into your picks, I think that we should do some flash facts, or flash fact, because I've only got one. So Laura, play that jingle. Thank you, Laura. So, our flash fact for our zombie episode. It's about Night of the Living Dead, which we referenced a little bit earlier. George Romero's the first kind of zombie movie.
It's black and white.
Black and white.
Just to give an essence of how old it is.
Late 60s. Like, it's the first kind of iteration of these. Did you know, initially, it was entitled Night of the Living Flesh Eaters. And he changed the name to Night of the Living Dead. But when he changed the name, he got the copyright wrong. So as soon as they published it as Night of the Living Dead, it went into the public domain, which meant anyone could make a zombie movie. So without him messing up that copyright, we wouldn't have the genre of zombie movies. Any type of zombie movie that you would see would just be a George Romero zombie movie.
Does that mean that's why we have something of the dead all the time?
That's why, yeah, anyone can name it Of the Dead. It's, I suppose, the copyright lapsed, so anyone could make a zombie movie. So the undead coming back and you turning into it. Like,
so what can people not make?
It's in the public domain. Anyone can make it. Anyone can make a zombie movie, and there's no restrictions to it, because zombies, the same way that anyone can make a Dracula movie, anyone can make a Frankenstein movie, anyone can make a mummy movie, because those are in the public domain.
So, could you imagine if George did not fuck that up?
Yeah, you would only see zombie movies. It wouldn't be a genre. We wouldn't have the likes of The Walking Dead or...
No, definitely not The Walking Dead.
And like anything that we're discussing today, you wouldn't have. Like, even at a stretch, would you have The Last of Us? Probably not, because even though we can make the argument one way or the other, it is that kind of an infection. Like, I don't know how far the copyright would have extended had it stayed with George Romero, but without them having changed the name, we wouldn't have this genre.
We
would, but only his movies.
Well, he should be proud.
He should be proud, but also like I would. Now he may have like you may get some if he had licensed it out, but I bet his wallet is definitely crying because all these zombie movies like it's $1 billion franchises
at this stage.
Yeah, so he's definitely not seen $1 billion. But I just thought that was interesting, like that for the greater good. Like, should stuff enter the public domain that quickly? I don't know, because you do get stuff as it enters the public domain of like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which is not. I don't know. I haven't seen it, so
I haven't seen it. I don't
doesn't look good, but
Mickey Mouse just entered the public domain.
That's another one, and since then I've seen 2 trailers for horror movies or horror games. Like, as soon as stuff enters the public domain, when it is a kind of a kid-friendly stuff, it seems, it's like, okay, what can we do to fuck it up? What can we do to make it as fucked up as possible? It's like, yeah, okay, brilliant. The most that you're getting is people rolling their eyes and looking at it like, oh, fuck's sake. And then some people will see it, but the majority of people aren't interested in that,
Cheap to make, easy, quick buck.
Mm-hmm. And that brings connection to our flashback section. Laura, play that jingle. Thank you, Laura. So, those have been my picks anyway. You got some zombie movies to talk about?
Yeah, speaking of the man himself, George A. Romero, it's not his version of Night of the Living Dead. It's Tom Savini. Did you see From Dusk Till Dawn?
No.
Okay, well, he's the guy with the gun in his dick.
Okay. Well, I don't have any reference for that at all.
He is a collaborator with George A. Romero. Mm-hmm. He's acting in a few of his movies, and he I believe he's part of the special effects team of the zombie making. He's like 77 or 72. He's had a few cameos in the certain zombie movies, but he directed a remake of Night of the Living Dead. It was released in 1990.
Okay.
And it's in colour. Mm-hmm. And it follows the same story. Barbara and her brother Johnny go visit their mother out of the middle of nowhere to visit their mother who in the cemetery. Mm-hmm. Get attacked by a zombie.
And find a house.
And she runs off to find a house. Pure embodiment of a damsel in distress. Mm-hmm. Barbara is.
Yeah.
Cute redhead, long wearing skirt. Of course, one scene it's fine. The next scene it's got ripped, so she's showing a bit of leg. Mm-hmm. Someone bastard had that influence, I'm sure, because it literally she had no reason to cut that.
To have it ripped. Yeah.
Finds the house. Surrounded by a couple of more zombies. In comes the coolest motherfucker in that of Tony Todd.
Tony Todd.
Tony
okay.
Todd.
Okay, you're talking my language now, yeah.
Fucking out, runs over a cunt of a zombie, out the truck, puffs out a cigarette, but it's not cheesy.
No.
It's all serious. He's got a crowbar. He's trying to shake the shit out of her because she's in a state of shock. And starts fucking up all the zombies, and then it's her and him for a short period of time, but when I remember it, it took forever until more people came in, because that's what I needed. I needed my fix of more people to come into the movie so they can die.
It sounds like a 1-for-1 remake of the original. I've seen the original.
Have you now?
Night of the Living Dead.
That's quite interesting, because even Tony Todd is named Ben. And I like the stories they're saying, how he came from the town. People were rallying up these zombies. How this one guy just comes out and shoots the shit off one zombie and it keeps on coming until it took a headshot. And it feels like everyone is in it for themselves when they're trying to escape, because he just escaped in the middle of nowhere and he just so happened to come across Barbara. House, let's fortify it up. Even the dialogue of finds bullets. There's got to be some shotguns in there. He specifically says shotguns or something like that.
Is it set in the 1960s the same way?
I think it's the 1990s or 1989.
Right. Okay.
Now,
is it like? I know it's obviously made in that kind of the 90s, but is it?
Yes.
Does it seem like it's set back in the 60s?
The thing about that, the TV is in black and white. but there's no real official indicator of when it takes place. Because
Maybe with the dialogue, that will give you an indication of it.
I think the 80s then, if anything.
Fair enough,
but
yeah.
It comes out in 1990s. I couldn't even tell for the life of me about the weapons they use. I really couldn't. I'm going to guess the 90s. Yeah. Late 80s, early 90s. And that's what I believe it takes place in. I don't, even with the make of the car, I don't know. But then there are people in the basement and they all together. And pretty much, David, I don't know if the old movie is like this, but this movie, it's pretty much a process, journey length of time of boarding up all the windows and doors. There is no time to breathe beyond that. Take doors off the hinges, board them up. I'd like to know how they got this, the props and set decorations to put a door against the window, hammer a nail through it, and you see the nail go through. Is that just fake or is that all real? And every window you see them do a lot of windows, and you get the ironing board to throw, plaster it in. You get timber frames, plaster it in. Try to take wood from wardrobe doors, no good. Better than nothing. Fucks his hand through, no good. And the reason I was happy to pick this after nearly finishing the movie is because you're following Ben as the protagonist and Barbara as also the protagonist. But Ben is going at odds with this fucking, he's obviously a racist, but he never indicates fully, otherwise. He's the Cooper. He's the man whose daughter is down in the basement sick.
Yeah,
you know, he's obviously a bit of a wife beater. He's come from
he's the man of the house. He brings home the bacon. And he's not going to be told what to do by anyone else.
And he's not a well attractive man. He probably was in the past. He's obviously well off. He's got a suit. He's you know, and he's very adamant that if you want to do something, let's do it in the basement where it's safe.
Yeah,
like he'll go grab a can from the fridge and have a drink, but that's it. Like no talks about. Like, all he wants to do is just hunker down in the basement, and he's. Oh, Ben and Cooper it's pure raw man hating man. Because Ben is adamant to, like he was scoffing at the young lad who was there, Tom, who sort of owns the house, to board up the windows with him. But he thought he wasn't, but he was just going to get his girlfriend to come and help out, and it's pretty much all them boarding up the house entirely. Yeah. While Cooper hunkers down in the basement. And you're watching this movie, and any audience would just think, this guy, he's just an asshole, and he's going to get his comeuppance, and he's just very wrong. But I wonder if people watch this movie think, he was right. That the mean, dickhead, asshole, prick character, who you're not supposed to root for, was right. Because when shit hits the fan, all the zombies broke into the house. They pushed down the wooden boards and the doors. They break in. And
it's very much two men who have very different zombie plans in their own head, and they just are very adamant, like, this is the best idea. No, this is.
But even to further that, Barbara, who was told quite rudely to, you gotta fight now because you have to. So she does. And she's watching all the zombies. They're so slow. You can easily walk past them. You don't need to run. She's telling Ben, honestly, that she's not crazy. We can do this. And Ben's thinking, no, we got it. I know you're scared. And we will get out of here. This is right now. We got to board up everything first. Put up the defenses, not just hide what Harry Cooper's doing. These two men think their plans are the best. Look what happens. They break in.
It's that sheer the number of zombies that they overwhelm you. It doesn't matter.
Yes, they are slow as fuck,
but they will overwhelm you. Yeah.
And Barbara gets herself a shotgun, similar to the one in The Walking Dead, in Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, the signature weapon. Yeah.
And she starts to go around shooting a bunch of the cunts, taking charge almost. And it does end with her leaving on foot, and the house being completely torn apart, like in The Walking Dead with the Hershey's farm.
Yeah.
Literally that. Of course, that inspired The Walking Dead as well, as a place to hucker down and shelter. And then shooting each other because a loved one turns into a zombie, and then hiding in the end. And then I like the idea of when you make a plan and then something just goes wrong because they try to go out to fill the gas truck and it blows up. And then you just see Tony Todd just fucking going through the choreography of just rolling in the field and tackling zombies and just, yeah. And the sequence from when they go to get the truck is interesting. It's a good sequence. I can't attest if whether the original 1960s black and white movie has a similar.
I don't think it does. I think it does take place mostly in the house once it starts from the graveyard. It goes to the house then and
yeah. And I like the movie at the end, and I actually really appreciated the ending. I remember liking it because once everything is safe, Barbara meets up with a bunch of hillbillies, biker gangs, almost crooks, patriot rednecks, and then she's safe. Next morning, she wakens up in a makeshift camp by the local community, the townsfolk. A makeshift festival where they have a fence where they're just fighting zombies drunk, hanging them from the trees as target practice. They have coffees and chipper setups. The sheriff is there.
Like it's not as
like they've got it under control.
Yeah,
like it's not a big deal. We got it sorted.
Yeah, by the others separating themselves.
Yeah,
they doom themselves for that. Whereas if they had just stayed in the town.
And Barbara goes back, well, everything's safe and nice and daylight goes into the conclude the movie. And since you haven't seen this movie, I'll not go into any more details. But yeah, I appreciated this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm happy I picked it. Whoa, I went on a rant. David, I got another pick.
Go for it. What's number 2 for you?
Another remake of a George A. Romero.
Is it going to be Dawn of the Dead?
Precisely, yes.
I knew it. Is this the Zack Snyder, James Gunn remake?
Yeah, I looked up Zack Snyder and James Gunn because it's crazy to see them two guys together. They both work together on this. They'll both have their own Superman directed movie soon.
Yeah.
But to Zack Snyder has his, James Gunn will have his. This is always another one of those fast zombie movies, except the group is bigger. The shelter is larger, and the zombies are viciously fast. And Ving Rhames is in it. The director of Women Talking is in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Sarah Polley.
Does this one take place in the shopping mall?
Yep, that's this one.
Okay, yeah. So that also then... It seems like a lot of zombie movies inspire each other because, do you know the Dead Rising game?
Yeah.
Dead Rising 2 takes place... I think the first one actually, sorry, both of them take place inside a shopping mall. So
really?
It must have been inspired by Dawn of the Dead.
Well, the original Dawn of the Dead was also a shopping mall,
yeah,
except bigger. And I think Zack Snyder made it better by making it his own imprint. Zack Snyder before Zack Snyder did the slow-mo.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just a great collection of characters, and then it's obviously been skitted after, let's do up these trucks to make them like impenetrable against zombie crowds and hordes, and there's the dickhead in the movie, but he comes around the end and he ends up being my favorite character. Yeah, he's got that in there. And have you seen this?
No.
You have not seen Dawn of the Dead?
I have to say, like, as you said there at the start, like, zombie movies, it's kind of a blind spot. When you initially pitched this one, I looked at all the zombie movies I've seen, and I'm like, I have not seen a lot of zombie movies. Like, I looked up a list and I was like, this is a blind spot for me.
Speaking of it, I do not appreciate gore. I'm not looking for gore, blood and guts, and this movie actually has a bit of it that I'm not too happy with. It's a little bit too grainy or green as well in terms of the color grading or the filming. So I don't appreciate that sense, but like I said, if you didn't pick yours, I wouldn't have picked this. But I like to get a bit of diversity into our pickings, and this movie takes the biscuit in terms of the quantity of characters and quantity of deaths. Ty Burrell's in this movie as well.
Oh, okay. So, from Modern Family. Yeah,
he's in this, and I suppose I'm happy on the ending, and that's the key thing as well. I need my zombie movies to have satisfying endings. I like the endings. I think what's my favorite? I don't know what the fuck's my favorite ending in a zombie movie. Might be Shaun of the Dead. I don't know. But I might have a favorite ending, but the movie might not be all that great. So we'll see on that. But yeah, it's one of those movies that, look, if you like zombie movies, great. If you feel like watching it, great. You want to cross your arms and, you know, sink into your jumper because you're afraid the zombies are going to get you because they are fast. You got Dawn of the Dead in that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd recommend that.
Your final pick?
My final pick. Scooby-Doo and Zombie Island.
Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. Jesus, okay. A very, very far cry from Dawn of the Dead. Great choice. I've seen this one. So
You've seen this one?
I've multiple times, yes.
Terror Time Again.
It's terror. Yeah, great song. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's terror.
Time again.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, zombies aside, this is no fucking fact excluded. The best Scooby-Doo movie ever.
Yeah, I think when I was a kid, the the Scooby-Doo movies that we would watch would be this one. So Zombie Island,
Cyber Chase,
Witch's
Ghost, and the Witch's Ghost, Cyber Chase, and the Alien Invasion.
The Alien Invasion. We didn't watch the Witch's Ghost one.
No,
we had the other three though.
Right.
So,
Witch's Ghost was always the fourth one, weaker one.
Were they with the three girls, the witches?
No, that's the vampire one. Sorry, it is the Hex Girls.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, the Hex Girls. Yeah, I've seen it, but it wasn't a
right
for me on video.
For me, it started high with Zombie Island.
Yeah,
and then the Witch's Ghost was an easy. It was a ready available Scooby-Doo movie, and then I always found Alien Invasion and Cyber Chase to be rare broadcast.
Yeah,
you'd never find them as easily as you would the Witch's Ghost or even Zombie.
We
Island.
had them on video, so it was
Lucky
whenever you
wanted. Lucky you. Do you still have them?
I don't know. I don't think we have our video collection at home anymore.
What happened?
I don't know. Mom, Dad, if you are listening to this, let me know. Do we have Scooby-Doo movies still on video? Please let me know.
So
you have my number.
Scooby and the gang, or Velma, Daphne, and Fred are they separated, but they've gotten the band back together. They want to find an actual real ghost or monster.
Do you think this inspired James Gunn's Scooby-Doo movie?
Yeah,
when he was writing it,
maybe,
because it's a similar premise.
It is a similar premise, but I think this is done better. Doesn't matter, it's live action. Like, props for casting live action characters. I look at Shaggy in the live action movie, and I think that is Shaggy.
Absolutely, I think all of them are great.
All of them, yeah, all of them. And they come across Moonscar Island. If not for the name alone, like, just wow. This movie has a good echo of spookiness because you know you're having fun, but you're still getting spooked at the same time.
It's an interesting one because the zombies don't actually come into it until a long time in. I don't know if you've rewatched it recently.
It does take a while. I didn't need to watch it. I knew I was picking this.
It was like, if for an hour and 20 movie, it's like nearly 40 minutes before they turn up. Zombies, I'm pretty sure.
And it's zombie ghosts. Sorry, not ghosts. Zombie pirates.
Yeah.
And zombie Yankee federal soldiers, Confederate soldiers, and zombie tourists from being killed. Way throughout the movie because they're not the bad guys.
It's the
werecap people.
Yeah.
Who receive some fucking nasty deaths in a kids movie. I might not add.
Yeah, very much so.
And I thought your man Bo was probably the coolest guy in the movie. The gardener who's actually an undercover investigator, and shame they never brought him back ever in any other thing ever. He was always I always thought it was him as a love interest for Velma.
I always felt like Scooby-Doo as a whole was a very there didn't need to be a consistent story throughout all. Never. That any kid could watch any episode.
Yeah, it was very episodic. But the Hex Girls did return in one of the later sequels, but direct to DVD. Mark Hamill's in it.
Yeah, Mark Hamill doing a voice, as always, great.
The only disappointment is you could have had him in more.
Is he the boat captain?
Yeah.
Is he? Yeah.
But there was this one scene during Terror Time Again where they get caught in his fishing hook, Shaggy and Scooby. You know, physics allowing. But I thought it would have been cool if he saved them and yanked them into the bushes where he was hunkering down, and like as if he was onto it, as if he was trying to catch a zombie himself, as if he was like a hunter trying to, like, almost something similar to Bo, but he'll use Shaggy and Scooby as bait if he could.
He's actually working with the the were-women, isn't he?
No, he's not.
Oh,
no, sorry.
Did he not bring them to the island?
You're thinking of the different guy.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Who is such a jolly, welcoming man who... Oh, your heart breaks when he just reveals to be a werecat as well. I'm thinking about the guy with the pig.
Oh, yeah.
That's Mark Hamill.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I thought he was the...
It's
been a while since I've seen it, but...
Yeah. Well, that guy... I wanted Mark Hamill's character to be in it more because, like, you know, during Terror Time again, Shaggy and Scooby fucking get in his way. He goes, "Yar." Whereas why can't they just rewrite that? Because he's there. Make him part of the final act. Have him be an ally, an unwelcoming ally. Because you look at Jacques, the guy who you thought of, who's actually a werecat, the most welcoming guy, turns out to be a bad guy. And Jacques, an unfriendly, unwelcoming cunt, turns out to be a human being.
Yeah.
So I did not watch this movie in preparation, but damn sure I'm gonna watch it eventually.
Yeah.
There's no other way around it. You chose two of my top favorite movies, so it gave me the freedom to choose something like Scooby-Doo.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, I'm glad. Because I know you're a big Scooby-Doo fan.
I like Scooby-Doo when Scooby-Doo is good. And
yeah. But do you know there was a sequel to Zombie Island?
There's not.
Is there not? Is it not Return to Zombie Island?
There's no sequel to... There's no sequel.
Is that you denying that there's a sequel?
There is no sequel, David. Let's move on.
Okay. Sorry.
Yes, there is, but no, there's not.
Okay.
No, there's
not. Okay.
So, yeah, You weren't expecting me to pick Scooby-Doo?
No, definitely not.
No, what did you think I was going to pick? Or
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Like that, like as I said, my kind of zombie knowledge is limited, so you could have picked anything. I wasn't even expecting you to pick the remake of Night of the Living Dead.
Right.
Dawn of the Dead, maybe I could have taken a stab at that you would have picked that, but definitely not a remake of Night of the Living Dead and Scooby-Doo Zombie Island. So
quite a diverse pick.
Yeah, very. I think very diverse.
Have you got any honorable mentions because it's such a big stack? Because I honestly, David, struggled to narrow down some stuff. I wanted to pick World War Z.
Yeah, World War Z is an interesting one. It's based on the book, but it's not based on the book. Like it nearly just takes the title of it, because I know the book is kind of like nearly a collection of short stories. And it's from a lot of different characters' perspectives, whereas this one is very much just from Brad Pitt's perspective.
It's Brad Pitt in a zombie movie. Like, how often are you going to get that?
Yeah.
I remember seeing that in Australia. Like,
wow. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's one of those movies for me. It's like when you see a movie in a different country, you'll always associate it for that.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, World War Z, it's not one that I would have picked for this list like that, where you're saying it's an honorable mention, but it does have some great scenes, like the when the zombies go over the wall.
Yeah, just piling on top of each other.
That kind of that herd mentality of like, we just need to get in. You know, there's no like any one zombie has a particular agenda or anything like that. It's just the sheer like we were saying, the sheer number of them. You know, that they can overcome a city with walls, stories and stories high. And then the plane crashing sequence and all that.
Quite popular. I did think the final hospital scene was quite scary.
Yeah, that was the next one. Yeah,
like chillingly intense, frightening.
Yeah. Honorable mention for me, I Am Legend.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, I think that's it's a good one. I think because it doesn't follow those normal tropes at all. It very much is Will Smith by himself, him and the dog for a long period. It has some great scenes. It has some emotional scenes. Him with the dog. Scenes. And we're getting a sequel to it. We're getting
supposedly, yes. I don't know what the status is. It's supposed to be having not just Michael B. Jordan, but also Will Smith,
which is very interesting because it's following on from the alternate ending, which was on like the special features.
Yes.
So that is so interesting to me, that like this movie that people saw in cinemas, and if you go and watch the DVD, if you have it at home, you're watching the version where Will Smith's character dies, but they're actually going to follow the alternate ending. I think that's just such an interesting thing that I don't know if it's been done before.
I don't know either, but it defeats the ending that I saw.
But
I welcome the sequel nonetheless.
I always liked the alternate ending better.
Did you? Why?
Yeah, I just did. I just like that. I just did. I don't know. I just didn't feel like his sacrifice at all was necessary.
I saw that alternate ending on YouTube one day, good few years ago, and I thought that just felt weird.
Okay.
It just felt off. If it subverted expectations, but it's not what I wanted. I can welcome things to be not what I expected, but it's just when I just thought the ending where he has the woman and the boy hide in the press, the coal press, stay until dawn. He very much tried to explain to these infected monsters as if they would listen to him. I can help you. In the whole movie, you follow Will Smith, his losing of sanity, his emotions, his fear. Remember that scene where he's got the gun, he's in the room, he's in the hallway, and he goes around the corner with his flashlight, and he covers his hand with the flashlight, and he's just standing there, shaking. He's afraid because he says he's got to go because he's trying to find his dog, and it's the fear he has. But he grabs a picture of his wife and his daughter, and then he grabs the grenade, and he charges at the leader of the infected, the zombies, whatever you call it, and it's like Jesus dying for our sins.
He's making the ultimate sacrifice. Yeah.
And he's a scientist. He's not just a soldier. So
yeah, he knows that. I suppose that's why I kind of felt it unnecessary over jumping too far into this, but like the fact that he is better suited to continue living. You know, like of all three of them there, he is the most suited to live because he's the scientist. He's found the cure. He's cured this one here, or at least has begun to cure this one. The woman one that he had kind of taken hostage. So he is better suited to continue on, and he's the one that makes the sacrifice.
Makes good drama.
Yeah, like it's one that I'd be interested in if they do end up making the sequel.
Yeah, because it's still in development. It's not booked yet. But I'll welcome a sequel. I want to welcome a sequel for World War Z, but I just don't think it's ever going to happen.
No, I don't think so.
Shame. I think that concludes this Lanty episode.
Yeah, very much so.
Folks, thanks again for listening to this weekly Wednesday waffle of Talking Pictures. I hope you've enjoyed me and David talking about this particularly acquired taste.
Very much so, yeah. That's a great way to put it, yeah.
Yeah, very acquired taste. Like, it's not... I think you ask any given person, it'll just be considered shit, the zombie genre.
I think, looking at the genre as a whole, there's probably a lot more bad than there is good.
Or just unpopular. It has its fan base, but I think these days you just need to make something new. And I'll tell you this, I was excited for Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead with Dave Bautista, but I didn't put it in my list because it wasn't worthy. But folks, thanks again for listening. We are on Instagram at Talking Pictures Pod. Our email is talkingpicturespodcast1@gmail.com. We promote our stuff to be on Spotify. Actually, do you put it on Spotify, David? Because I do on mine.
I put it on for Spotify,
Spotify?
But we're on everything, yeah.
Yeah, well, we're on every possible podcasting app of your choice. So we're receiving the engagement and we like it. And if you like it, we appreciate that. We appreciate a like. We appreciate a 5-star rating. Hell, 4-star. If you give us a 3-star, why don't you send us in an email and tell us what we're doing wrong, and we'll do it right. David, thanks for doing this one for me. This was my pick for a subject, and I appreciate you tagging along with me. I'm glad I didn't repeat something on you, like taking you to see a movie that was well.
You've never done that, man.
Have I?
Yeah, well, you've done it once, but you've done it twice.
Actually, no. Hold on a sec. The one, I apologize, and I'll apologize till I die. The other one, no, man.
That was my I just
didn't that was your own freedom.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that was me.
You probably listened to our 2023 look back. Maybe that's what we're referring to.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, David.